Welcome back, everyone. We are in practice for not the Gr.86 series. Let me change that for us here. Where is that here? Let me find that in my folder here. Boom. Manufacturer series. How about that? We got some fancy graphics now.
Yeah, it's time for that. And, people might say, oh, we're on the same track again. But these cars are going to handle it quite differently. There's going to be things that you can do, not lap paddle, but there's going to be things that you can do differently in these cars that you couldn't in the Gr.86. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah, it's fun. It's nice too because we don't have to learn two different tracks each weekend.
That's my biggest thing.
And no chicane, like Tony just said in chat. No chicane now, so which I think for the fans of the cars is way better.
Yeah, 100%. I mean,
the chicane is bad enough in the 86, and that's a slow car.
yeah. I mean, so the chicane in the 86, the biggest problem with that, number one, are the track limits over there. For whatever reason, I know we talked about it. That's actually part of the reason Tony Cal turned them off, which I know you discussed in stream, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it would have been terrible. People would have been getting second penalties all across the track. And with these cars, I think it really just lets you, obviously carry that much more speed, but it makes it so impactful because that can make or break your lap, right? Or at least like if you're qualifying lap. So
yeah, absolutely.
Whereas with the we did it in the 8.6, and it was kind of like a good test of people's driving abilities, right? Because if you could be I don't even want to say spot on the entire time, just more consistently with it. I think it was good for everyone. Like, because people may be stronger at one part of the track than another, and that was kind of like a huge equalizer almost, because everyone's coming down to, you're down to second gear, and you've got to come out of that second curb and get on the gas as soon as you can to go down the straight.
Yeah, absolutely. 1 second, I'm just trying to find. There we go. So, and by the way, congrats to you for your first race finish.
Thank
top
you.
10 is, I think with how close most of the grid was, it was a good job. And hopefully I can maintain at least a top 10 finish next week, where I'll be racing. And I think we'll have someone else up here with you.
Probably Winters again. Yeah.
I think he might be out of town. I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, I was also fortunate that Specs didn't get to qualify, because then I definitely would have started P10, right? Or did I start? I started P9.
You started 9, yeah. So.
Yeah. So, that was fortunate, but I did hold him off. And Specs is a driver that we've discussed before, can kind of just jump in and do things very well.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
So, yeah, no, it was a lot of fun and definitely a learning experience for me. It's been a while since I've raced that long.
Yeah.
But I think I actually am pleasantly surprised with my consistency. Oh God, yeah, my hands are shot. No, absolutely shot.
And so now we jump over to the Gr.3 series, manufacturer series. We ran this last season, and I know we started talking about it last week when the stream was actually up and when servers were actually up for a little bit. But this season's a bit different, where we have teams, and which is exciting. And most teams, I think, honestly, we tried to pair it up so that way it wouldn't be, two dominant drivers together. Last season it would have been we didn't want an Arctic and Tony situation, or Tony and Moose, or something like that. And so for the most part, we have some pretty even teams and pretty strong teams as well. I'll try to go down the list with who's on track and whatnot. So, racing for, where are we? The French Revolution. The French Revolution in the Renault. We've got Arctic and Specs. I don't know if Specs is on track right now, so I can't see. And of course, we tried doing team liveries as well, and so you'll see a lot of these guys have been putting time in to have liveries for each race and everything else. Very, very cool. Next up for Team DT Renin Works, we have Demon, if I can hit the right button, Demon, and Tony for DT Renin Works, which the shell livery is looking quite nice today, if I say so.
They did a great job. They're two of the stronger livery guys too. I mean, obviously they're not alone, but their livery game I think is probably the top in the league.
So far, yeah, I think so.
I mean, Demon made mine in the 8.6, and I'm in love with it. So
yeah, it looks great.
Yeah, I'm not changing it all season.
Next up, we have Martini Racing, and it's Delps, who also I'll say that his livery game has stepped up from last season for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm no longer throwing up when I look at his cars, which is nice. Also, race winner last race. Just side note, good, like awesome driving by Delps last race.
I kept catching a glimpse of the stream. And I'm like, oh wow, look at him. You know, like I think he was down to P5 or 6 at one point, and then I saw him fighting Tony for P1. So
yeah, so he did a really good job. And then Delps' teammate, I don't think we've seen like they signed up and everything like that, but I don't think they're on track today. So
are they 117T? They're
it says Daniel.
DJ Paulo, I think is them.
DJ Paulo?
Yeah, they're in the other Martini livery.
Oh,
yeah.
There we go. Excellent. Okay, wonderful. I wasn't sure.
It's always tough to tell because you've got their PSN names, their PSN nicknames, and then Gran Turismo nicknames. So I'm never really sure who's who. Like, not all the time, but it's a little confusing.
I'm just going to change that on my end. Okay, perfect. Next up for MN Racing, it's our favorite the lovers' quarrel, I suppose, is Steezy and Marino. So Steezy and they're in the McLaren. They got a little, I wouldn't call that the Golf livery, but it's Golf inspired maybe.
It's Golf inspired, that's for sure. Yeah.
And I don't know what place Marino's in. I can't show him off. He's in 6th. Let's see. Still very nice, very nice. We already saw Fresh Revolution. For CGR Engineering, we've got Winter and Crispy. Crispy makes some sick liveries as well. I know they both had a hand in these, so happy to see these for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Crispy does make good liveries. Another one that's come out swinging. I think at the last season he just started making them nonstop.
Yeah, man. And then finally, as far as teams go, we have YS Motorsport with Carlton and Shino. Trying to find where these guys are on the track at the moment. Let's see. Carlton's in 6th.
And then not a Shino or not a veteran.
Not a veteran. Yep.
Yeah, that's a nice baby blue. We have a waifu on it.
I think these two didn't pair up their liveries yet, but I think Carlton was originally paired with someone else who dropped the league.
I believe so. Yeah.
So
it worked out that we got Shino and I think that's a really good pairing too because I was fighting Carlton the entire most of the last race. And Shino, we know, has pace, so I think they're a good pairing for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like we will be starting qualifying soon. 10-minute qualifying here today for the Gr.3 series at Circuit de Catalunya. Circuit de Barcelona, sorry, Catalunya. Without the chicane. So let's go, and hopefully there's no more late people joining the room that we have to worry about. We can just get on with qualifying and the race.
Yeah, and hopefully moving forward, Specs can do qualifying and get in at the right time, you know? I know it's not his fault, it's just a real bummer for everyone involved, and I'm sure, you know, I've been through my own issues with that when we play WoW, so yeah, I get it, you know?
I completely understand. Excuse me.
So I gotta ask you, how mean to me were you last race?
Dude, I think we were both very nice overall. Honestly, like I think he, well, because number one, I can be shit on next week, so I was nice. But here we go.
All right, I'm gonna take note of the tires real quick. Oh wait, this is qualifying. Those in softs should not be. Those on mediums, I mean, should definitely change.
They should be changing right away. So we saw during practice for the 86 Cup last race that earlier today. That Arctic was putting up these rapid times, man. Like, I think mid to low 157s. I can't remember the exact number. But then during qualifying, he just, like, I don't think he was able to find a good spot. It looked like a lot of the grid went out at the same time.
Yeah, and then they did, and I experienced that too, and I kept trying to just make space, but then the person in front of me would slow down more, or someone would spin out in front of me, and then I'm like, come on. So I really only got the change. You know, I'm glad they bumped it up to 10 minutes because it would have been terrible. I would have gotten maybe one lap in, and it sucked because I was ahead of Steezy at one point. I started ahead of Steezy. I was ahead of Demon at one point. But something to learn for me and for you also now is we have to learn our timing so we can get that last lap in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's just a part of the learning curve, right? And
that's it.
Looks like Shino is changing to softs and will soon be leaving the pits. I think they're on the way out now. And they waited a while, which is probably for the better. Like, they're going to have some clearing air for them, whereas a lot of these guys are going to be fighting each other. Maybe
and you don't want that during qualifying.
No, qualifying, like I think the urgency of a 5-minute quali is really fun.
Yes.
But at the same time, like with the 86s, a 2-minute lap basically, you're getting no time. You're getting absolutely no time.
Yeah, to be honest, I think if we're going to do a short quality, we'll kind of have to send people out in a timed fashion.
Either that, or it has to be a smaller grid. If there's a race where we have half the people, then maybe that'd be okay. But it's entirely grid dependent as well, right? Like a 5-minute quality for somewhere like Spa would be miserable.
Oh, forget about it, yeah. And that was the other thought, we could definitely do it, but, running 2-minute laps and doing a 5-minute quali in the 8.6s, that's not it,
No, not at all.
It was interesting last race. It was a lot of fun. Obviously, the weather's a little bit different here, a bit darker, so the track's not going to be as warm. And
there's tire wear
and there's tire wear, exactly right. So we have quite a different end fuel wear. So it's going to be exciting. It's going to be a very different race, right?
Absolutely, and it'll be a very different race, that's for sure. I think we have to look out for a few different people here now. Moose obviously is always very quick. Arctic's gonna be rapid. Tony Cal, Winter, but surprise, man! Delps, man, did very well earlier today, and I imagine they're going to have similar poise in the Gr.3 race. So I think that's someone to watch out for as well. For as far as a podium finish, I think it's probably between those 5, which obviously there's only 3 steps on podium. So
I would agree. Hey, give me a minute. I have to update the spreadsheet. Anthony hasn't done it, so...
Okay, yeah, no problem.
There's drivers that are not driving anymore.
How dare he? But of course, we also have... strategy's going to play a bit into it, and I know that Moose puts up a 139.9, Arctic a 140.1, Winter with a 140.1 as well. Actually, identical time between Arctic and Winter. 140s, 140s. So it looks like a 139 is the fastest currently held by the Moose Man himself. Belfin saying, I'm always a fan of Paddle's liveries. I might be biased because I like green. Dude, Paddle is infamous for, and let me find this man once again. Paddle's up to 11th. Well, he hasn't put a lap in yet. Okay, yeah. Yep, that makes sense. Paddle loves his lime green. Everything is always lime green. Paddle puts up a 147.645. Crispy just beat him out by a second and a half. I'm sure Paddle's got more time in him. He hasn't practiced a whole lot this week. I also promised him I wouldn't be too mean to him, so I love my Paddle. I love my little Zugger. For someone who's and forgive me for those of you who are unaware, for someone who's played WoW for as many years as him and is a main warrior, typically those people only have a certain sized brain that doesn't include large or medium sometimes. So he'll do the best he can, and we'll root for him anyway.
Well, that plus his freedom screeching of an American Eagle that's not actually an American Eagle because they don't screech like that. And his love for Mopar.
Oh, I love
Man knows what he's about, and he is not afraid to flaunt it. And here he is with that bright green Viper. And you know what, though? It looks good. His livery, and he has stepped up his livery games.
It does look good. Hold up. Wait a minute. Sorry, I just happened to see. Moose puts up an even faster lap at 139.622. Winter puts up a 139.7. Extremely close laps between these two. Arctic is about a half second behind Winter, holding up third place with a 140.0. Actually, he's got penalty for that, so it's not even going to count the 140.1. Dolphin saying no penalty for years. Yeah, we
What's it been, about 6 years now?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When did BFA come out?
Was it Battle for Azeroth? Yeah. Dude, I don't know.
2018? I don't know.
God.
WoW expansions are like unknown to time, but I know they last about 3 years apiece. So if Legion was 2016 to 19?
Bro, I don't even know. This ain't no WoW stream. This is a GT7 stream.
And we're looking at these they're driving a timeless track, I should say. Catalunya, man, Barcelona. It's one of my favorites. It's tough. It's not an easy track. Like,
well, there's just a few corners I think that are, you know, like that hairpin towards the end, Sector 3, is brutal sometimes.
Well, you know, I guess this goes for any track, and maybe I just have a different feel about it now since I raced for, you know, the first time in the league. And I don't know, we've said it before, but your lines can make or break, and those do. Your lines can break your points, right? That's really making or breaking your laps, like, obviously. But, you know, you saw the different lines people were taking, and I saw the different lines people were taking, and I'm like, oh, I could gain on young Carlton if I go this way instead. And so that's what I started implementing. I was so close to him at the end, man. I thought for sure. Oh, we just saw Moose make contact there with DJ Paulo. Obviously, wasn't catastrophic in its qualifying, but that's going to ruin both their laps. DJ Paulo also with a penalty. Tony Cal looking to take pole. He's got a couple of minutes left to do it. Do you think he can?
If anyone can, it'd be him for sure. You know, we know him to pull out a pole lap and then start the lobby. So I don't see it being far from his grasp. But, you know, it's also... we talked about it in the past with the manufacturer series. We've spoken about the strengths of different cars on different tracks. I always thought that the Mercedes was a powerhouse, but and you would think maybe with there's not too many technical corners here. If anything, there's some faster corners and the straights, of course. But it could also be a tuning difference. Could just be a skill issue. You know, we don't know. But I mean, he's awfully close to Winters, which means he's awfully close to the Moose. Like, his time isn't far off at all. To say it's not competitive would be a lie. And he took third place from Arctic. I'm sure Arctic is going to be looking to respond, but he's currently being held up by DJ Paulo. So Arctic's going to be coming around. We have about a minute and a half left in qualifying. So Arctic's going to want to make sure that this lap he's coming into, it counts, and he's slowing down, he's braking, he's giving himself some room from DJ Paulo ahead of him, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. He starts putting the pedal down, and Paulo puts up a 149.1, which is, 10 seconds off the fastest lap here. So hopefully Paulo has the mindset of, like, listen, I put up my time, you know. He can see the leaderboard on the left-hand side. He can see the current track times on the left-hand side. Hopefully they have the mindset of, like, okay, maybe I should get out of this guy's way. Steezy puts up a 141.5, moves him up to 8th place.
Yeah, I mean, like, I was just watching there. Pato had a penalty, kind of infringed a little bit on Specs' qualifying lap, and Specs definitely needs a good lap to go around here. But that's something that... here we go. They're like almost racing and qualifying, and you know they both want to put a good lap time in. But this is where it gets tough. I mean, I took it.
Look, he has the Arctic going wide now, and it's unfortunate. He needs some clean air, and this is exactly what happened to him in the 86 qualifying as well. He had to fight for his position. He's going, you know.
Now he's got to the gravel. You know this isn't going to be a fast lap. That's unfortunate. But we know to Arctic. We know that he can come back, obviously. But, like, again, you just want that better starting position. I can't blame him.
Yeah, no, it's just unfortunate to see, you know, and he's got the penalty now because he was fighting to try and find a place. We're coming across the 10-minute mark right now, and this is now final lap for him. So that's disheartening to see. I think you have to have some, you know, overall mindset of where the rest of the group is. And stuff like that. Moose, thought he might be improving, but he's going off-roading, he's rallying.
Hey man, he's still got almost 2/10 on Winter right now in P2.
Yeah, let's see if Winter has an answer at all for this. Paulo puts up a 145, slight improvement over their time earlier. Well, 4-second improvement. Marino puts up a 141.3. Marino down in 6th. But honestly, Marino once again proven to be, I mean, you know, if we consider top 5 for a podium, then Marino's proven himself to be the best of the rest. Let's see, Winter puts up a 139.6. Got, I don't want to say stuck behind Steezy, but he definitely tucked in right behind Steezy, and he's going to maintain that second place for now. Tony Cal went ahead, but he was unable to improve. We have a few guys behind crossing the finish line as well. Let's see.
We've got Delps still on a flyer, I think. Specs rather, Specs.
Yep, we're on board with Specs right now as he's coming across the finish line.
That's looking like a good time.
A 141.5 does not improve for him, unfortunately.
So we know he and Arctic have some work to do, and Specs, as long as he can keep it together, and this is no dig, but unlike he did in the opener race, I think he's going to work his way up. Honestly, I couldn't believe how quickly he was behind me. And I felt like I had pressure most of the race. And god damn, he knows how to pressure you. He is quick.
So it looks like Carlton qualifies just ahead of Pato. Yeah, Winter. I thought you were going quick. Okay, that's exactly what I thought happened. Winter says he hit Steezy on the last corner. Steezy was just planted there, man. That's unfortunate to see. Oh, no, we don't want to exit.
So that makes Moose pole position.
Yeah, congrats to the Moose, man. Pole position there. He's going to be taking home that extra point. Winter in second, Tony in third. So Mooseman and Winter on the front row, Tony and Delps on the second row. Do we have any teammates that are close together? Not yet. Anyone that's able to help each other out? I don't think so. I mean, maybe Arctic and Specs are the closest? But
actually, they might be, but Specs is going to have to do some work to get caught up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, pick your tires. That's a good reminder. We're seeing there from Arctic. He did apologize to JJ Paulo there. I think they both could apologize, but...
Yeah, but I mean, still, Arctic starting fifth is... I think he definitely had... I think Arctic had a faster lap. Notably, I think Arctic might also be in one of the weaker cars amongst those top 5 drivers.
I would agree.
So
we've seen him pull it out. We saw how he worked with the other Peugeot last season.
That's actually a very good point. Yeah.
But I'll say, again, I'm looking down the order. I'm like, oh man, Steezy's P10, but look how close these times are.
Yep.
You could say, okay, the first place is a 139.5, and last place is a 147. Let's just call it 140. Yeah,
just call it 147. That's all right.
Yeah. As you go down, though, it's just incremental.
Well, realistically, look at top 10.
That's what I mean.
It's a 2-second gap between him and first. So it's really, really good.
Yeah, so while the teammates won't be really able to help each other out, we know we're going to see a fight between Steezy, Demon, and Marino, though, up to P6, man. That's huge.
Yeah, dude, Marino's got some quality. I mean, Marino's been doing very well. Hopefully, what happened last race, I'm not quite sure what happened there with him and Shino.
Well, they're right next to each other at the starting grid, so.
Yeah, going to start wishing that they were teammates, maybe. I don't know. I am a bit surprised to see Steezy down in 10th. And Demon, but I mean, like you just said, though, it's the entire grid's so close. It's,
Yeah,
look at Steezy and Marino. The gap between those guys is it's nothing. So yeah, the positions don't matter as much as the times do, and we're gonna have quite the packed midfield. That's what that means.
Oh, that's for certain. That's for certain. And I wouldn't put it past young Carlton to find his way through a little bit. He had pace last race, I got to say. He's behind DJ Paulo and Crispy. So I could see definitely a P10 finish in the books for young, I should say.
That also kind of feels, though, to be honest with you, it feels like something's got to go wrong for the other guys. With a 146.9, he's seconds off.
100%, yeah.
Which
I'm sorry, did I say P10? I meant P11.
Okay. Yeah. It definitely seems like we'll be having a fight for P11 between Crispy,
DJ Paulo,
Young and Pato for sure.
Yeah, Pato,
and for some of those guys, it'll be a fight to stay on the track first, and then a fight for the rest of the guys. So we will be getting underway here in just a moment. I think we are just waiting on the room to be ready, waiting for the rest of the drivers to ready up. So,
You know, I'll say again, you know, we're getting ready for another grid start. I had a hell of a start, and I was actually alongside young Carlton, and he was a spot ahead of me, and I was so salty that I couldn't make out with that because I was right behind Demon at that point too.
Mm-hmm.
But that just, you know, your start is so important, and I don't know. I like to think I have pretty decent reflexes where that can help me every race, and it seemingly does. So that's something that I don't think people should neglect practicing. Actually, when we had that short little interim while Tony Cow was setting up our grid last race, I went and I just did a practice start because I was like, I don't know.
Well,
you know, actually, Arctic and I did the same thing. I didn't know where the hell I was going to be.
No, and the funny thing that you mentioned that as well, because yesterday when you and I were practicing, it's like, and we had a couple of race starts, or we practiced grid starts. It's, you know, your breaking point is immediately different from just running hot laps, and it's hard to think about that. So, but these guys hopefully all have, as we're going to be getting underway here for our second and final race of the day with our Group 3 series here at the Circuit de Barcelona, and in Spain. And there's no chicane here this time. How nice.
Lovely. I mean, it's just going to make the you know, we're, what, 20 seconds faster per lap now? So, obviously it's the cars, but also that lack of chicane.
Yeah, it'll be nice to see. I'm sure some of these cars will handle the chicane a bit differently than others. But it looks like here we go. 3 seconds until final starts. GT's verbiage is fantastic here. And we're waiting for the room to be ready so we can spectate and get ready to go. Boom. Get our replay up. And here we go. We're waiting for the lights to come up again. Full starts are in effect, and they will be penalized. Be sure to keep your foot on the brake. Keep your arms and legs in the vehicle at all times.
You must be this tall as a rod.
Exactly. The lights are up on a gloomy day here at Barcelona, and we are off. It looks like Moosman had a solid start in winter as well in the second in a row, but it looks like Delp's behind. May have been a bit slow to get off the grid. Is already down in 6th place. 7th place as Moreno passes him, and unfortunately for him, but he's going to get tucked in and follow along with the pack. Now, Moosman here is going to want to do his best to pull away from everybody as much as possible, but we'll see if he's able to do so. Delp's on the inside of Moreno here in this first turn.
Young Carlton being advantageous up to P7 now.
Yeah, it came out of nowhere. He must have
squeezed in there. Squeezed in there, man.
Well, we'll keep our eyes up front. Tony Cow's livery currently making me want some McDonald's from the Golden Arches, to be honest. But here we go. Let's see. Arctic is currently in 3rd place, working side by side almost with Tony Cow, but it looks like Tony's going to pull along behind it. But Arctic gets a little bit squirrely. I'm not sure if there was any sort of contact there. Is Tony going to fall in behind? It looks like he is. And it looks like Specs has a toe in the gravel as well behind. At this point in time, I think everyone's, you kind of got to fall in line. The race is now made in the first lap, in the first few corners, and it looks like so far we don't have anybody falling behind like we did last lap. So
we did have Demon and Steezy coming out of the turn with that bridge. What is that turn? 1, 2, 3, 5. Steezy did contact Demon and caused him to spin out a little bit, and now they're down in 11 and 12, Demon and Steezy. So they haven't got their work cut out for them now, especially.
Well, I mean, like you said, Tony Talent goes a bit. Yeah, he got tired in the dirt and caused himself to go sideways, and now it looks like he's almost going a bit wide once again as we don't have the chicane. I wonder how hard it is. Arctic goes wide. He falls behind. Down to 8th place is Arctic. Unfortunate for him, but we know Arctic has the ability to move through the pack. Crispy pulling alongside and pulling ahead of Arctic now, and Demon slowly behind him. He's going to get in that toe from Arctic and urge him to pull him along. So now that gives Moose first. Well, Moose has first place, Winter second, Marino in 3rd, and Delps in 4th. Tony Kell down to 5th now because I guess he got a bit squirrely there and had that toe in the gravel as well. Moose with a 2.5 gap though is going to be looking to just keep that gap going. Winter.
Tony Kell down to P6 back of the gravel. Young Carlton gets past him.
Oh my goodness. So listen, Winter and Moose, this is all they need. This is fine for them. Winter's got over 2-second gap between the rest of them. Marino is down in third, but he's got to fight with Dubs. Dubs goes on the inside. Marino gets a bit slidey. It is down to fourth now. Shino right behind also gets maybe a foot too heavy on the gas there. Gets the rear to step out a bit on them, but it looks like they maintain it. And Delps is up to third. Delps is hungry for a double podium finish here today, man. And these mistakes by Arctic and Tony, I'm going to call them mistakes because I didn't have to see if anyone got hit or anything like that, right? Hopefully they are just mistakes. But, man, talk about capitalizing on what's going on around the grid.
Yeah, I mean, it's huge. And Shino, we know, has got pace too. So Marino knows their work is cut out for them. Carlton looking good so far. Hopefully they can stay consistent. I did notice driving behind them last race that there were times where they just, but I did the same thing, which is why I couldn't get past them, right? Mm-hmm. Everyone seems to have it. We've seen it from Arctic and Tony already. And Demon stuck behind Arctic. Steezy is up to P9, got past Crispy, and now is hunting down Specs in the other Peugeot. So we'll see if what do they call them? The French Revolution?
The French Revolution, baby.
We'll see if either of them can stay ahead of their competitors.
Oh, Yuma, don't you worry. We are just starting the race here for the second Group 3 Series race. You didn't miss any. Well, you didn't miss anything. No worries there.
Oh, Wally, I'll be right back. I do have to take care of the tires, though.
Tires? Oh, that's...
I have to take out... no down tires now. I got work to do.
So, you see Arctic behind Crispy. We know that Arctic's got the pace advantage on this, man. And, I think maybe Crispy was somewhere where Arctic didn't anticipate or what, but he goes sideways, but Crispy's able to save it. Not sure if that was just a bit of net code or something like that. Yeah, Quali, you just missed Quali, Yuma. But to be honest with you, the standings have changed quite a bit from there. Moose qualified first. He's still in first, followed by Winter, and then Tony was in third. Tony got a bit sloppy on the first lap out of here and is now down in sixth. He's made it a few places, though. Yeah, Moose is looking pretty good so far, though. He's looking pretty quick. He's got 2 seconds now on Winter. Winter has almost 3 seconds on third place, with Delps behind in third. But we know that Delps is going to be looking to make up some pace. And Delps currently in no man's land. He doesn't have anyone in front or behind him, so he can just put his head down, put some fast laps down, and hope for the best. When Ryan gets back, we'll have a tire talk session to see who started on what, because of course we are curious about the strats these guys are going to be going in on. Shino up in fourth. Got Tony Cal right behind in fifth. Tony's got ultimate pace on Shino, but we've seen Shino has pace as well. So we'll be interesting to see if they make it a hard time for Tony or not. Delp's teammate is down here somewhere. 13th. And let's see, where were we? So
I am back. I just realized we don't have purple. What's going on?
Yeah, maybe purple couldn't make it today.
Which
I guess would be why we have Pato.
Yes, yeah, that checks out.
Yeah.
So it's Moose and Pato together today, on literally bookending the where we are. Now, of course, Pato is not. His points will contribute if he earns any, but it's not like they were working together previously. Maybe Moose said, "Oh, you're actually with me. Here's some advice." But so we have sort of a mixed bunch. We have, let's just see here, of the 13 drivers there is, right?
14, I believe, right? Yeah,
yes,
14 drivers.
14. We've got 5 on softs and the rest on medium.
Oh, hold on, sorry. I just noticed Demon's still down in 12th place.
Yeah, man's not having a good time.
Oof. After all this, I know Tony and him have been doing coaching and everything, and it looks like he's just not having a good day today.
Yeah, no, he looked like he struggled at the start. Him and Steezy, there's some contact, and then Demon was behind Arctic and just couldn't make it up. Now, I do anticipate him getting past Crispy, but then ahead of Crispy is Specs, and we know Specs is not going to chill in 10th place for too long. I don't think that. I think Demon will come back. Maybe he'll settle into a groove.
Yeah, I think he's just got to be consistent with it, and
Oh, we see Marino have a look on young Carlton. Is that? Yep. Oh, coming down to turn 1. Marino's on the inside. And Steezy's not far behind the two McLaren clad in the Gulf livery.
Golf
S livery.
Golf inspired. Yeah, and racing. We're gonna have to work on these team names.
Crispy is spitting out. There it is. You hate to see it. And now he is down into P13. Pato, unfortunately, having a rough race. Someone who didn't obviously prepare whatsoever. So this is very new for him. Can't be too mean, but hey, more spin outs ahead maybe means that he won't start last.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. There's actually 4 ANG. So we're allowing 2 teams. Is the 3-car limit removed now? So it's because it's on a team basis. So we're allowing 2 teams to drive the same cars. So like 2 teams could drive the Mercedes in this case. You have Tony and Demon driving the Mercedes, as well as Shino and Carlton are also chosen to drive the Mercedes. Yep.
Speaking of Carlton, behind him is Arctic, who is looking feisty, looking to make a move. We'll see if he can get it done. This is a tough part of track to make a move, but we might see a move here down the inside. I don't think so today. Oh, I forgot there's no chicane. Never mind. We're not going to see a move down the inside because there is no inside.
Man, but I think it's just, I think Arctic's clearly got this pace advantage. He wants to get this move done sooner than later, and he's so close right now that I think we'll see this. Yep, we're going to see something
coming into turn 1.
Coming down into turn 1. And then he will have his eyes set on Steezy just ahead. Artie's going to have the inside line coming in here, and he's got that nose ahead. He's going to be able to go, and then Carlton pulls in right behind him. There we go. Arctic makes that move stick. Very nicely done. Arctic, man, I feel that it's having a rough day of it. Arctic is working hard for these points today.
Hey, you know what? Sometimes you got to do it, right? I mean, Tony Cal have made mistakes, but he's down back into P4, about 4 seconds behind Delps in P3. A podium finish isn't off the books for either of them.
No. We have a
Tony
long
Cal
race to go.
We have a long race to go. Tony Cal being further up the grid, though, certainly does help that. As we have Shino down in P5, and you're on board with Marino right now, chasing down not a veteran or Shino. And yeah, I mean, we have action across the grid at many points here. It's a good track, man. It's such a good track for this.
Yeah, man. I love this track. It's well, overall I enjoy driving it as well. So I'll say I love this track. It's all right. It does leave for some good racing as well. There's plenty of opportunities for people to pass and whatnot. What we saw a lot in the earlier race was right here, this right-hander. People were chunking up on the inside of almost everyone.
Yeah, which again surprised me, but hey, if you can make it work, right?
Exactly. So Tony Cal has now made his way back up the field, started in P3, got thrown down to like, I don't know, P9 or something like that, is now back up to P4, has a 4-second gap ahead of him that he's going to be trying to make. I mean, that's a ways to go. If we look at his laps, I mean, they're kind of all over the place at the moment because he's been fighting, but and he looks like he must have had an incident last lap or something. But I wanted to, so let's say his average laps are around a 141, like what he'll be putting down. Maybe a bit faster than that. Well, Delps is also putting down 141s actually very consistently. So
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, for Tony to be catching, he needs to be putting down 140s dead, 139s, ideally.
And that Porsche, number one, it's such a, I don't want to say easy, but it's such a well-balanced car that while maybe it's not a 10 out of 10 in any one place, it might be a 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
In most ways, right?
Yeah.
Whereas I think the other cars are going to be different. I just want to update. So Arctic did get past Steezy, and we have specs on the rear end, actually side by side now, of Young Carlton, as they're coming down into the hairpin location. We'll see what they can do. I don't know if Specs will go for it here. Specs liked the inside in a couple of turns, but again, that inside's not here since we do not have a chicane. And Belfint, yeah, I agree. The chicane, I mean, like when F1 stopped using the chicane, what was it, last season, 2 seasons ago? They were like, oh, there's no chicane? Oh, praises of joy came out of everyone. Yeah, so much better.
I said it earlier, and I think the chicane works better for slower cars. Like the 86 was okay on. It feels terrible with these faster ones. I'd rather see these guys carry more speed for the final corner and everything else. But we see here Specs is on the rear end here of Carlton. Is he close enough to make a move going on into the first corner? I'm not sure.
Ooh, he might try. Carlton did leave that door open.
Carlton was very kind to leave that door open. And Demon is side by side, though, now with Specs. He falls back in line, but all this fighting with Carlton has let Demon catch up and is forcing you guys to be even further behind Carlton here. So, within a few corners, I think this move will be done for Specs, but he's also got Demon now who's going to be defending from. I mean, realistically...
Man, this feels like last race with Specs, to be honest, man.
Specs goes on the inside. Carlton left that door wide open for the Irishman, and he goes right through our resident soup maker, Carlton, is left without a ladle.
Yeah, but he's back in front as he takes the tighter line over there. Now, this is a turn that Carlton did struggle with through the last race. Obviously,
the inside line though, it's Specs.
That's okay though, because now Specs can control the corner coming up.
Yeah, these guys are going at it hard. We're 8 laps in, and we're seeing some fights going on. Carlton has a look like
Specs tried to squeeze in there.
I think Carlton was about to close the door, and all of a sudden saw Specs with a dive bomb of the century trying to come in, and he said, "No, I'm not trying to get hit today." So he dodged out of the way, manages to keep it going, and once again, these three drivers are going to be fighting as we come across the final corner down to the main straight. And here we go
and the gap between each of them is about the same, maybe a 1/10 difference now, but they're all going to be getting the tow. You know, and this is something that obviously we talk about, but I was looking for Specs a couple times. I'm like, come on, work together with me down this main straight, just bump draft me. And he just wouldn't do it, this selfish potato that he is.
Listen, man, when you finally get on, oh man, what a horrible line by Carlton. I don't even know necessarily you can say he got pushed wide or anything like that, but I think he made a mistake and left that door open. Specs now ahead into 9th place. Demon capitalizing on that, taking 10th place away from Carlton, who is now back down in 11th. We'll see if Carlton's able to manage anything and hold on to these fight, or if Specs and Demon will be let go to try and catch up ahead.
Just giving you an update from further up the grid. Arctic did make it past Marino. Sheena, though, hold him off so far. We'll see if Arctic's pursuit of a higher place can continue. Tony Cal did have a half-second penalty for track limits. He did serve that and is now at the hairpin. Pushing him a little bit further back from Delps than he'd like, but, you know, that's the game.
That's exactly what, it is what it is. I also wonder if Marino, I mean, with Arctic behind you, like if you're in 5th or 6th, Arctic's probably not long for that position, right? He's but I feel like at the same time, if you're in that position, you gotta fight for it as much as you can. We didn't get to keep our eyes on it on stream, so I didn't get to see exactly how Arctic passed. But we see not a veteran, gets a bit wide. Arctic actually went a bit into the ground when he gets a half-second penalty, but I think he may be able to pass not a veteran coming up here. It looks like he is ahead coming into the first turn.
Yeah, and we do see the two McLarens pitting. They were on the softs, so maybe that's how Marino sort of gave up the position to them. But I'll note that Steezy's tires are far more dead than Marino's, and Carlton on the mediums also in the pits because his front left a shot.
I have to imagine now. I know that Steezy and Marino, since they were on a team together, MN Racing, they were planning on being in voice chat together to try and work together. Now, did they both decide to pit at the same time, or was it just circumstance? I wonder if the tire difference was if the tire deck difference was that big, it may have been a joint decision to just say, okay, let's do the same thing. But I wonder if they'll end up on the same tire coming out of this or not.
No, they did not. Marino came out on the medium. Steezy electing to stay on the softs. Marino, I think if he's got the fuel to do it and can basically make his fuel last as long as the tires, that is going to be a nice long stint. But he does only have a half tank of fuel, so it doesn't look like that's in the cards. Where's Steezy? Let's see. What does Steezy have? Steezy also a half tank of fuel on softs. So I don't know really what that idea was, but we'll see how it plays out for them.
We'll see how it plays out for sure. I do wonder how the rest of these guys, I'm sure Tony Cal's been pushing hard now for 10 laps. And Delps, as we've seen, Delps pits.
Delps, Shino coming in.
Yeah, this is where we're gonna be getting a lot of people pitting, I'm sure. Now, I wonder if Tony was making his decision based off of Delps.
Very possible. His tires, his front left is the worst. It's got about a 25% left, and he's got about 45% fuel. So he may stick it out for a little longer trying. But we'll see what tires Delps comes out on. Now, again, Tony Cal will not have that information to help him, but we'll see what happens here.
Delps said he's struggling a lot with these tires. Yeah, this, Winter and I were talking a bit about tires earlier before the 86 race, and he had some pretty interesting strats that he wanted to try out. So I'm curious to see if he's going to end up playing those. I won't divulge those secrets on stream anymore, but anxious to see it nonetheless. And
I'll also say that I have never cared for the mediums of the Porsche. I don't know why. Like, I would rather not use them. I'd rather use the softs or the hards at that point.
Interesting.
Yeah, now Delps does come back out on the mediums, full tank of fuel, and Shino also on mediums, full tank of fuel. Two different cars, though. Obviously, going to treat everything differently. But now Shino down to P12. Of course, there's a slew of people that still have to pit.
Yeah. So at this point in time, we are 20 minutes, almost 20 minutes into the race. We're about a third of the way through, just under a third of the way through. So we'll have to see how things shake out at the end of the race. Because once you start messing around with pit stops and you get a few different strats going on, it's very difficult to really tell, right? Especially Delps getting a half-second track limits penalty. That's so easy to get on this track.
It is, yeah. Pato must have also pit. I think I just missed that. He's on racing hards now, electing to go from softs to hards, maybe just trying to figure. For him, this is purely experimental, I think.
Yeah.
He's got to learn.
He did a race in the Bending Series last season. And obviously last season was really the first time he picked up the game, right? Where is he right? He's in 14th? Yeah. For someone who was new to the game, jumped into a league right away. Of course, I think the Miata was a good car to just get your feet wet with everything, which is the series he ran in. But these are completely different beasts. And for him, I think it's just get some experience. And even as far as that goes, like we see on the screen right now, he's getting blue flag warnings for the guys behind him. This is just for him to get some track time, I think, and it's good. It's a good way to get it as well. And he loves his style, he loves his Mopar, he loves his Viper, regardless of the strength of the car or lack thereof. He doesn't want to be messing up anyone's races, so it looks like he will do anything to get out of the way for someone who he needs to at this point. He knows he's not really in the race for it. But it's good to see him on the grid anyway.
Yeah, that's for sure. Now, I do think we're going to see Demon coming to the pits here. Winter, as he does, his front left completely shot. Noticeably, Moose up front in the same car. He's still got some life left in it, and that could be a factor of having all this fresh air and everything. He hasn't really had to, and Winter has obviously maybe fought a bit more. Tony Cal still out there, still with a bit of life. Actually, his tires are near identical to Moose, so he's going to keep going. They both still have fuel as well, working out well for them.
I remember Tony saying that he wanted the Mercedes like the entire time last season, right? And I know that we had let drivers swap a little bit here and there last season. Now that he's in the Mercedes, man, maybe he's just super comfy. He found a setup that works for him, and he's more than happy to, if he's comfortable with it, he's more than happy to kind of go towards the limits with this thing.
Yeah, hey, if he's comfy with it and he knows it, I know my car. Why not, right?
Why not, exactly. Winter comes out in 6th ahead of Delps, which he was before, which is good. But happy to see that he maintains some track position. So we're still waiting on Arctic and Specs in the Demon's pit.
Yep, Crispy has just went to the pits. Moose, Tony, Arctic, Specs, Demon all have to pit.
I'm sure we'll be seeing that within the next couple of laps. I can't imagine the tires will be lasting too much longer.
And I want to say, DJ Paulo still has to pit as well. Actually, no, I must have missed their pits. They went to soft and medium. Their mediums are already looking a bit worn. But again, that's the Porsche for you. In the mediums, just doesn't feel good.
No, that's unfortunate. It's like maybe you'd rather just go full hard, or it looks like did both McLarens end up on the hards?
That was Steezy Marino. No, Steezy's on the softs, Marino's on the mediums.
Okay, gotcha.
Crispy, just like Winter, comes back out on the mediums.
There we go. And we see Arctic now in the pits finally. 20% fuel left. So the grid's spread out quite a bit now. I'm trying to see if there's any action to be had here.
No, again, we are getting the last people to pit within the next couple of laps. And so, of course, we'll see where they end up coming out. And it's all going to shake out here shortly.
Yeah. Either way, though, Moose still out there, man. I mean, I think Tony's taking advantage of his track position as much as possible. I wonder what his strat's going to be, though. I mean,
I think so, too, but they're both going to have to pit soon. Their tires are not looking great.
Yeah. I imagine they need fuel as well. To be, let's say a third. I mean, no, more about halfway through the race. Well, it wasn't halfway through the race. To make that stint is pretty good. I don't know if any of them are doing any sort of fuel saving or what. But, it'll be interesting to see if there's any two-stoppers out there or one-stoppers on that. Obviously, if you pit early, you're going for a two-stop, right? Are these boys trying to make a one-stop work?
That's a tough call. I mean, they could go mediums to hards, and that's the only way I think they're going to do it. As Moose does come into the pits finally, I'm sure Tony Cal's right behind him. He's coming down or is he going to stay out one more? He's going to stay out one more. He's got the draft behind Crispy, I think, perhaps trying to make up as much ground as possible down this main straight, but he's right up the rear end of Crispy. He's going to push him along or just make a move? Yeah, he's going to pull aside. This is a bit risky from Tony. His left front is shot, but he wants that track position, I think.
Yeah, I think so. You know what? Maybe if he's trying to make a one-stop work, that'd be awesome to see. I don't know if he'll be able to. And honestly, Crispy has blue flags anyway, so it's not like, he was going to be able to get that position for free. I mean, for free, basically. It's not like he had to fight anyone for it.
Yeah, for sure.
But
for sure. This is an important lap for Tony, though.
Yeah, he needs to have everything on the market with dead tires, I'm sure.
Almost there. I mean, I wouldn't feel comfortable driving with those left ones, and he's seeming a little bit twitchy. But that's the risk you take,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm sure that his tires are not agreeing with the abuse that he's giving them, but he manages to hold on, and we'll see what his times look like. I mean, let's see. I don't know
Moose
what's
is
going on
in
with the
P5,
time.
came out of the pits with 3/4 a tank of fuel and fresh mediums. In front of him is Delps with just under half a tank of fuel and mediums slightly used. Again, we'll see how they can go. I don't see, though, Delps keeping his position since he's not liking the tires he's on right now.
Yeah, I don't think this will be a position that Moose is long for. I think he'll be able to get ahead of Delps pretty
And
easily.
Winter just breezes past Specs. Specs' tires are spent. Winter up into P2.
Yeah, Specs has got to be pitting this lap, right? Oh, he goes one. I wonder if that'll be a track limits or not.
Yeah, no, and Tony's staying out. This madman.
What is this man? Is he going for?
I mean, look at it. He's got a 23-second gap right now.
Holy moly!
He's got to be going for. I mean, all right. So he's got these mediums lasting for 16. It's gonna be 17 laps by the time he comes in.
Wow.
I don't see how he goes another lap.
Wow.
Let's see what Specs decides to do. Specs is finally coming in. So Tony Cal, the last person that has to stop.
That cap's now down to 22 seconds, though. I mean, how much slower is he going than Winter?
Actually,
behind?
I don't think Carlton's pit yet either.
Wow.
Carlton's low fuel. His mediums, though, look rather healthy, which is why I thought he would have pit, but I don't think with that fuel use. And I haven't noted it yet, and he's staying out. Carlton is staying out. These Mercedes guys, as he goes wide, that's not going to help you, bud. It wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth it.
As his teammate's going to go past him now. Or is his teammate going to help him out? Is he pushing him along?
Oh, yes, he is.
What a guy, Shio.
You love to see it. You love to see it.
I wonder if these two are communicating or not. I'm genuinely curious. I know Carlton is a goofy guy, right? He said before how he has no strat. He hopes his teammate does, etc. I don't know. What is he trying to do here?
You know what? He's got to pit at the end of this. That's for sure. As we see his teammate go in front of him. Thank you for the helping hand. Get back up to speed. I'll see you after my pit stop or actually probably not again. But notably, we do have several people that still have to make their compound change.
Well, Tony's finally entering the pits. That gap was down to 19 and a half seconds as he enters.
Okay, so he lost time to Winters.
Yeah, he lost about
4 seconds. Yeah, 2-3 seconds. Yeah.
So let's see. We'll keep our eye on Winters real quick. See where Tony ends up coming out there. I don't know. I didn't get to see how long this pit stop was lasting. People.
I didn't check. Yeah. Foolish of us, but Tony Cal probably knows.
Yeah.
Although I don't think they say their delta in VR, if I remember correctly.
Right. They don't.
Yeah, you don't see shit. Yeah, let's bring that joke back.
You want to beat a dead horse?
Yeah. One way to make your drivers tired of the commentator.
Oh my gosh. So we see Tony Cal now, and looks like Marino has passed him while Tony is in the pits. Tony's swept to the softs. Okay, he's going for a short stint. He's going for a short stint now because he only fueled up to about 66%. So I wonder if he's going to go for 2 short stints and just wear these softs out.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, if he feels like he's got the pace advantage on them. It's going to be interesting to see, but again, it's something he doesn't know, but some of his competitors still have to make those tire compound changes anyway.
Yeah, I think this will be an interesting move from Tony. He stayed out so long on those mediums.
And Carlton as well. Carlton's in now, too. Now, Tony's mediums were far more spent than Carlton's, but their fuel is the same.
Interesting.
Yeah, very interesting.
Well, I just wonder if that means Carlton's not driving on the edge as much as Tony is.
Probably.
Could be a setup thing as well, but I don't see Tony making a setup that's going to make his tires not last. I think it probably comes down to not driving as aggressively, let's say. No, not pushing it as much.
I would agree with that. No, I am just double checking though my notes to see who still has to change or not, because sometimes it updates right away in Gran Turismo. It shows me the new tire right away. Sometimes it doesn't.
Yep. Yeah.
Because that's cool. Yeah, Tony, man, with that 17 laps thing, went half race distance just about.
Yeah.
On the same set of tires. We do see Steezy, though, on those softs that he switched to. He's going to have to come back in. He's in the gravel. I think he's pitting at the end of this lap. Not having a great time. He's in P6 right now. Yeah. No, he stays out. He's got the fuel. He says he wants to make it work. That front left is not enjoying its time, my guy. That's okay, though.
Interesting to note the difference in teammates' strats. Obviously, at the start of the race, we didn't have any teammates close to each other.
Right.
So it's not like you had Tony and Demon starting on the front row, and they were basically to be on the same strat or anything like that where they could help each other. And of course, at the end of the day, as much as the teams play into each other, you're racing your own race. It's it's not just the team championship; it's the driver championship at the end of the day as well. So when you're able to, when it's convenient for you, play as a teammate, right? If it's not going to hurt you, but if it starts to hurt you, then there's no point in doing so.
Yeah, absolutely. I think in an ideal world, teammates could help each other out, but. Again, whether it's upsets during qualifying or just how the race goes or, that skill discrepancy between drivers. It's not always going to be the case, but you want to bring home the best possible finish for yourself and the team. So all the motivation is there, right? But of course, like we saw Shino helping young Carlton. Yep. Hey, why not, right? You're there, you can help. Why not?
We are on board with Arctic, who, number one, I love the interior of this Renault. It's so cool. But he is getting awfully close. Steezy's got to be pitting this lap because his pace has fallen off tremendously. See, DJ ahead of these two. He's got to be getting the blue flags. And he is not long to be ahead of these guys too much longer. And that's what you see. Okay, there we go. Marino's going into the pits as well as Steezy. And here we go. Yep, DJ had a horrible exit out of that final corner. And here we go. Arctic up to 5th position. Again, though, Arctic is working for these points today, man.
Yes, he is. It looks like he's going to make it count as well. Hopefully, he can make it count. Now, Marino and Steezy, teammates, we know, on different tires. They had the same fuel, though, so they're both at the same point. Again, pitting on the same lap. And really not far between each other. Marino was previously on the soft to medium. Steezy went soft to soft. So Steezy likely going to make a tire change, I would imagine. Marino, I don't know if he's going to change tires or just fuel up. we'll see here in a moment as he's coming out of the pits. Yeah, Moreno just fueled up. Those mediums have plenty of life left in them. Steezy had to fuel up, though, and change tires, and we'll see what he comes out on.
Very interesting. Yeah, the interesting choice by Moreno. So now he's going to have to... I mean, is he planning on bringing that fuel... 60% fuel load to the end?
I don't think he'll be able to, because it's about where he was previously. Steezy just come out on the mediums, full tank of fuel, so he can go to the end, that's for sure.
Yeah. Moreno feels like he might have to stop again, unless he does some serious fuel saving.
Which isn't worth it, as we know. Our drivers have told us.
And he's on used tires. I know they still have plenty of life in them, but... I mean, maybe he's... what is the strategy here? You're 13 seconds behind specs. Obviously, you know, these guys are the first two to pit the second time, right? So you have to take that into consideration as well, because we have to see how things will shake out at the end of the race. But are you going to pit again? Are you just trying to... Yeah, I don't know. It's I have many questions and no ideas on the answers.
Speaking of pitting, you know, we're on lap 20 of 35. Winter is going to have to pit again for tires, and likely fuel before the end of the race. I'm sure he'll just do one last pit stop. Winter did go medium soft, so that necessary tire compound change is done. I would anticipate him doing another soft stint, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, you know, I think we were talking about that earlier, about maybe going medium soft soft or medium soft medium, and kind of depends on how the tire wear was going to work, because he was anticipating the track being cooler as things went on, but if anything, it actually looks like the track is less cloudy, and
that's right, the sun has come out.
So yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, it depends on, I guess, the full race. Does it end at nighttime? You know, I'm not too sure about how time works. No, what is time? But even still, I said to him, well, I guess it kind of depends on your track position as well, right? Like if you are, you know, plenty of time ahead and you don't really, you know, need to push, maybe just throw on the mediums and you'll be set, instead of having to worry about running a lap or two on dead tires.
Exactly right. You know, the dead tires, no matter what, we saw it with Tony Cow, we saw it with Steezy, dude, you're just hurting your performance there. It's not worth it at a certain point.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is the first manual race we have, really, so maybe they're finally seeing how it plays out with, you know, you could do laps, you could do practice races all you want, but without other drivers and, you know, you're going offline and you're having to fight people, you're not going to see how your car actually performs. And we know this track is a tire eater as well. That's the other thing to take into account.
Yeah, absolutely. And that'll change from track to track, right? This one, I think, especially the front lefts.
Yeah, right? The front left, just the left in general, but especially the front left.
Yeah, so we'll have to see what happens. I'm curious to see what this gap is going to look like between Delps and Tony Cow. Curly and Brown around 6 seconds. So I want to see. We'll have to keep our eye on that delta as the laps keep going, and see if Tony Cow is making time up or what. He did just pull in the fastest lap of the race, the last lap with a 139.9.
Yeah, I mean, we know he's quick, that's for sure.
If we jump on board with Delps, the times he's putting in, he is kind of old. He has a bit more varying times than I would have imagined. Not quite as consistent, I mean, 144, looking at lap 17, for instance, 141, 144 for lap 18, and 143. He's, so it's not like he's consistently putting in 141s or something like that. He's kind of all over the place right now. Okay, he's coming into pit now. And Tony Cow is out. So Tony Cow's going to be taking third place away from Delps for now. And now he has clear air in front of him still. Over 8 seconds between him and Moose in second place.
Yeah, notably, Winter is going to have to pit. I don't know. His front left is shot, so I would pit now if I were him, or at the end of this lap. But he still has fuel. But like we said, it's not worth it.
Well,
you're losing the pay. Well, it could be worth it actually with this little amount of time. If you're losing X amount of race pace, but a pit's gonna take 20 seconds, let's just say.
Yeah, and if it's going to affect your last stint, and that's what the thing we were talking about as well, is that he had mentioned that, there might be where depending on the strategy he runs, that he's running 2 or 3 laps on dead tires, basically.
Yeah, and that may well be happening here, which sucks, right? Like, you don't want that. It's not enjoyable for anyone. Delps comes out on the hards with a full tank of fuel. He'll be going to the end there.
Oh, for sure. Here we go. Delps. Name him more famous duo. Delps and hard tires. No, listen, I'm excited to see if they can work. Because I know last season it just wasn't the move. And we have since changed the tire rates and fuel rates. And hopefully that means that it'll make these hard stints work.
Winter does come in and pit, so he said it's not worth it at this point.
Good.
There's about a 12-second gap between him and Moose, obviously, that's coming down, and Moose will pass him as he's coming down the straight now. You can see. Oh, you did see. We can check where Arctic is. Tony Cal coming down the main straight as well. Arctic a turn behind, or 2 turns behind.
Let's see. Winter has not started fueling up yet.
Nope. They just changed his tires. Okay. So Arctic is definitely going to pass him as well.
Yep. Yeah, he'll end up probably ahead of Demon, I would imagine.
I would imagine, yeah. Demon, 2 turns left.
I don't think the guys in the pit, they usually do a really good job. They're not messing up their oil or anything like that. So.
And Winter, as predicted, comes out on softs, 3/4 of a tank of fuel. He will be taking that to the end. That's a good move. 2 short stints on the softs, I think.
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea. Clearly, he's got pace on those as well, so he will be looking to make up some spots. I do wonder, though, what his tires are going to look like at the end of this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know when he pit previously. I think he'll be okay. I do think he'll be okay.
How's our Irishman Specs doing? What's his tire situation look like?
Let's see. So Specs has got 45% fuel, is on mediums. He's doing just dandy. If his fuel can last, he might just finish up the race on those. But he does actually have to make a compound change. So if I were him, I'd go for the softs.
Yeah, I think at this point that's the move for sure.
Yep, Demon coming out of the pits. This is his last stop as well. Basically full tank of gas on mediums.
And he's in 10th place right now?
Yes.
Excellent. Steezy.
Oh, Moose has got a half-second penalty. It's not going to help Tony Cal catch up, but we're seeing, even the guys up front get penalties. And I think, that's probably where you were seeing those inconsistencies with Delps' laps. It's got to be due to penalties because, again, we know this track is not easy for them. It's why Tony Cal turned it off for the opener race. And that could be possibly why we're not seeing as tight-knit racing. Not because people were abusing them, but simply because people weren't getting them, right? And I think that's a big difference.
Yes.
You were streaming, so you could tell me more, but for my racing, I didn't see anyone taking advantage of that. Whether they heard it on stream like Delps because he listened to the stream while we're discussing, while he's racing, or just figured it out because they said, oh, that should have been track limits,
Right. No, it didn't seem like we had a lot of people abusing it. I think for the most part, if you were going to be abusing something, you were losing time 9 times out of 10.
Yeah. Hey, you want to jump on with Shino and P9 fighting Steezy right now? They're coming around the second to last turn. Steezy's tires slightly more used, and Shino is on the softs, so you would anticipate it not being too difficult to contest. But we shall see. He's got the draft here. That was a fantastic exit, and that's the difference those last 2 turns can make. I've talked about it before, how it can make your quali lap or not. You can carry that much more speed. Obviously, though, that McLaren has the straight line. Look at him coming back, gaining back on him a little bit. Yeah, Shino's got the inside here, which will let him control the next corner as well. But what a run there from both of them. And Steezy's not going to back down.
No, not at all. He's going to be looking to reclaim that place. But what are his tires looking like? Because
They're fine. He's got mediums. They've got plenty of life in them.
Was he? Well, was it Marino?
He did 3 stops already.
Was it Marino that did the just fuel up?
Marino did fuel only.
How's he looking?
Let's see.
Where's Marino? Sorry, guys.
He's looking all right. About 40-45% life left in those left-hand tires. Maybe 30% fuel. So, I don't know. That's a really tough place to be in. I mean, he could just drive conservatively. He's got 15 seconds to the guy behind. Again, he doesn't know that because VR. But I think if he just takes it home, he might be okay. 11 laps left to go.
Yeah, it's a tough
That's
call.
tough. That's tough call.
Delps in chat saying that he's struggling a lot with the stability of the car, which is why he's losing a lot of time. Yeah, it's tough. First mini series of the season as well. So maybe
maybe just have to go to the drawing board, right?
or get good. Or I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah, I mean, I think again, like going from what did Delps go? Medium, hard. That's a tough choice. I think the softs would have been a better idea. I know that Porsche, though, it feels like it's on rails when you have the softs. It's like a drug, honestly. Like, anytime I get back on softs on the Porsche, I'm like, oh, God, yes. Like, because you're just missing that grip the entire time. Arctic with a half-second penalty, not going to impact him too much. You just saw Winter. How's Winter doing here?
No, but Winter's behind him, and he's within 3 seconds now because of that half-second penalty. Not that
and
3 seconds
Arctic's going to have to pit, I think.
Yeah.
His tires are not looking too good.
Winter is going to be trying to go for the rest of the remainder of the race, I believe, right? The last 10 laps.
Yeah, absolutely. I see Tony Cal definitely having to pit again. Unfortunately, that strategy is not working out for him. He's got little to no life left on the tires. His fuel is running low. Arctic might have it be pit again in Winter, absolutely staying to the end, I think, on those softs. He'll have to manage them. Well, I don't think he commits to another pit stop, though. For 9 laps, I don't think it makes sense.
Arctic?
Winter, I'm sorry.
Okay. Bro, Winter, though, now that gap's down to 2 seconds between him and Arctic. I mean...
Yeah, Arctic's pace is just down because the tires are shot.
Second and a half? I mean, oof. Yeah, this is
and they're just coming around the 5th turn of the circuit. So Arctic may very well get overtaken this lap before he even pits.
Man, you got to give kudos to Arctic though as well for what a race he's had so far. Where, had made a mistake earlier, came back, and Tony Cal did the same thing, right? Basically, I think Arctic may have been further back. I'm not sure, but.
I do agree with that, yeah.
Yeah, to be fighting for this, but wow, that pace drop off is tremendous, and Winter smells blood, and he's going after Arctic.
Yeah, have to. This is the difference podium could make. Winter's strategy may be playing out very well, especially taking into consideration as Tony Cal's coming into the pits. Something I'm sure he didn't want to do, but it was just he pushed real hard on those. Oh, sorry, he was on the softs. That's right. He wasn't doing 2 stints. Yeah,
right.
So that checks out then.
Yeah.
But he's gonna need tires and fuel, so
he's gonna go softs again, I'm sure, and just run them.
Yeah, I don't see any of the choice for him.
All right, and there goes Arctic.
He's gonna need that pace.
Arctic goes into the pits as well. So
another one.
So let's see where Tony and Arctic end up outside.
Arctic, I don't think is gonna lose a place.
He's got 26 seconds. Well, I don't. The timer, the delta isn't. Great at the moment. So Specs is coming across the no chicane corner. So let's see. Tony Cal is currently being fueled up.
Tony Cal he just started it out. He's on soft spec, 60% fuel. He's gonna be ahead of Specs, right?
Yeah. They might be at.
No, he's way ahead of Specs. He's at turn 1 already.
Holy moly.
That worked out very well for him. Arctic not losing another place to Delps, so just his teammate is in front of him as Delps is coming up in P6 down the main straight. And Arctic did the same thing, about 60% fuel and on softs now.
Yep.
The only choice you have with this late of a pit stop.
Yeah. You don't need all the fuel. I mean, they're just trying to wear down both at the same time, basically, right?
Yeah. You want to end the race realistically, I guess. It was basically 0 tire left and 0 fuel.
Yeah, use all your resources, right?
Yeah, it's the most efficient way of doing it, but of course it's everything before that. Basically, that can lead up to that happening or not.
Right. All right.
DJ Paulo is in. Mooseman is in the pits with 22 seconds between him and Winter. This is going to be close if Moose can stay out in front, but he'll have the fresher rubber for sure. He's going to have to fuel up and change the tires. I do think Winter will get ahead of him here as Winter is rounding out onto the main straight now. Moose hasn't even started his tire changing.
Yeah. Let's see. I meant to go for Winters. Sorry, guys. No one likes the pit view here. It takes way too long.
It takes 5 years. Pato coming in as well, needed fuel. His hard tires, I think, were just fine, believe it or not. Moose comes out, 50% fuel on racing softs. He is behind Winter by a couple of corners now, so he's going to be hoping that Winter's performance drops off quickly if he wants that spot, but that's 15 seconds between them now.
Yeah, that's quite a bit. That is quite a bit. But it'll be interesting. I mean, Winter has to manage pace, but also tire wear and fuel, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's for sure.
He's got his work cut out for him, whereas Moose can just Moose can be putting in hot laps for the rest of the race here.
Yeah, Moose is just going to have his own qualifying time, unless there's any back runners, but it looks like he's got a clear coast for a while, so I think he's just fine.
Yep, we got Tony Cal 5 seconds behind him. Now, Tony, he's kind of in a similar position as, well, no, he just got fresh tires and fuel, so he's kind of in the same position as Moose now, where it's a race to the end for both of them.
Yep, that's exactly right. Marino comes out of the pits, is in P10 currently, 5 seconds behind Demon, and he is on fresh sauce, but no fuel. Marino, what are you doing, man?
How much fuel does he have left?
He's in the red. He's got like 2 laps left.
That was a mistake.
That's a big mistake. Marino throwing it away.
Oh, man, that is brutal. That is brutal.
And he had so much time behind him to Carlton. Oh, Marino has got to be kicking himself right now. His teammate Steezy currently up to P8.
They do show fuel in VR, right?
I sure hope you see that at the very least.
Man, that sucks though. That for someone who was running a pretty damn good race overall, like that's fucking brutal. You hate to see it.
Yeah,
you hate to see it.
Sucks. As Specs comes in for his change, again, he has not changed tire compound yet. I'm sure he's going on softs now. That would make the most sense to me.
Now, do you think Specs has the know-how that he doesn't need 100% fuel?
I'm sure he does. He's got about a quarter tank left now. So he'll probably just fuel up to halfway and call it a day. Maybe even 40%. I'm not sure.
We shall see. And Chino
I'll keep it on him.
For the final time. Chino, normally 50% fuel. Are they just changing compound?
Their softs are shot.
Yeah, so they just need tires.
Yeah. Okay, Specs comes out on the softs. Yep.
40% fuel.
There it is. Called it.
Wise. Good job.
And Burrito coming back in for fuel. What a disaster for him. He might still come out in P10. He might be lucky enough because Purple is still behind. But come on, man.
Absolutely brutal, dude.
Yeah, I don't want to make fun of him, but that is fucking stupid.
No, listen, I'm not trying to kick horse wilds down, man. Like I feel that. That's just one mispress, and that's exactly what happens.
Yes, exactly right. I don't think it was intentional. It was probably a mispress, which is just really unfortunate. Yeah, man, just fueled up to half fuel. What a bummer for him. Currently in P11, as young Carlton takes the last point spot. We'll see if he can keep it.
No,
there's quite the gap now.
No.
Shoot, you're right. Everyone gets points. I'm thinking F1 rules. Yeah, you're right.
It's been a couple months in between seasons, but
yeah, really.
So Carlton, I think Marino's got pace on Carlton.
Yeah, well, Carlton swapped to hards during their pit stop. So not only are they on hards with waning life force.
So there's a chance.
There's a chance, yes.
A chance?
But again, like you said, everyone gets sprays. A hope. Yeah, we'll have to see. The gap between Winter and Moose is not coming down, unfortunately, for Moose. So again, unless something tragic happens, we're looking at a Winter P1 finish, Moose P2. Tony Cal with almost 5 seconds to Moose. Again, hoping for something catastrophic, but a healthy gap between him and Arctic in P4. And then a healthy gap between Arctic and Delps in P5. Delps just not getting along with the car or tires today. But again, comfortably taking P5. Not a bad day for Delps, I think.
No, honestly, I'd be happy with top 5. Again, with these top 5 drivers, it feels like it could be any order.
And the win in the 8-6. I mean, come on.
Yeah, what are we? A win, and can't be upset about that. So, honestly,
Steezy came back in for softs.
Steezy came back.
Carlton is
on
pitting.
softs. Okay, so Carlton pits, so that gives Marino 10th. Steezy is down in 9th. So Steezy just left the pits with new softs, you're saying?
Yep.
Okay. And he's got 10 seconds between himself and his teammate behind him. And 16 seconds. Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's qualifying. The grid was super close, right?
Yes.
After that, it comes down to your race pace, but what determines part of that mostly is your strategy, right? And consistency.
Yeah, that's the big thing. You know, obviously, every driver is getting their fair share of penalties here or there. It's an easy track to do. We talked about that. Obviously, some more than others. But again, it's your strategy. You know, we look at Carlton, for example, ran medium, hard, soft. Maybe those hards weren't it. I don't think the hards were it.
Again, I think.
I don't think they had to they didn't really have to refuel. So maybe that played out in their favor. I just don't think the pace is there on the hards.
No, and part of the issue too, I think, is this man's spending too much time in the kitchen making soup. And not enough time,
soup, man.
Not enough time on the track. But you know, I mean, because legit though, like if you don't know if they're making strats, compared to the rest of these guys, like, you know, we know that Arctic's putting time. We know that, you know, Winter's putting time in when he can. Tony's putting time in, which means that Demon's putting time in. Steezy and Marino, while maybe today didn't work out the best for them, they're putting time in as well. So, you know, if you want to be competitive, you have to be able to put some time in as well. Otherwise, you're going to relegate yourself to being behind. And when the top 10 on the grid basically are all putting some time in to strategize. And learn the track and stuff like that, that just could be the way it goes. And I'm not throwing shade at Carlton. Everyone has stuff going on.
No.
No. Same can be said for Crispy. Infamous for really.
Same can be for you and I.
Exactly. Infamous for not putting time in. Like, it just is what it is. And you know, I don't play the game that often. Part of the reason I don't race consistently. It's just and I instead of shit talk people for a living. It's great.
Yeah, it's great. We just get to show up and judge people. It's great.
Yeah, exactly.
As we see, actually, Tony Cal just getting past DJ Paulo, but Paulo not giving it up easy. You've got the blue flags. You can't be impeding someone's race. If they're not making the move, that's fine, but they were just like rubbing each other.
Yeah, I feel like
as now we see Paulo spitting out.
Flying away. The Pato did just start to cross the start-finish line, so he's a little ways away.
Yeah, I mean, Crispy too, comfortable 11th place. I think that's where he qualified, right?
I think so.
I think so.
But, well, honestly, though, that's something that I think I noticed with DJ either earlier this race or in the 86 as well, though. Just wasn't, maybe, could have been a bit more aware of the blue flags and who was around them.
And that's something we talked at length about last season, too.
Right.
But they weren't there.
Yeah, he's new to the
Yeah.
So, you know, kind of grain of salt situation, I suppose. Just something to be aware of next time. And as we see here, we have 2 laps to go left for the front crew. Tony Cal just crossed over to the lap 33, and 4 seconds still to Moose. I don't see him catching him unless Moose makes a horrible mistake. But honestly, for the race, due to the mistake that Tony and Arctic made earlier, these guys finishing 3rd and 4th is absolutely tremendous.
You know what I think we're going to see, though? I think we're going to see Specs going for P5. Specs is a little over a second behind Delps, but that tire disadvantage that Delps has got right now, where Specs is on pretty fresh softs, that Frenchman is looking pretty hungry. That French-Irishman.
The French Revolution is coming to fruition.
And how good of a finish would that be for the French Revolution? P4 and 5 possibly, but either way, P4 and 6 is a fantastic finish.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure Delps is going to be looking to give this up easily. But if the tire percentage is that different, then you know, I wouldn't put it past Specs. You know, we said it last season, and I'll say it again. Just he's not here all the time, unfortunately. Whether it's due to work or his internet just not wanting to let him play the game.
Yeah.
But man, when he shows up,
we see it,
he shows
getting
up,
on.
And here we go. That's a huge. I think there's a grip difference there though too. Just being able to carry that much more speed. As Specs goes up the inside. And it takes 5th position away from Delps.
Job is done. I mean, you know, Delps just can't fight back, unfortunately.
No.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
And that is purely, I think, a tire compound difference here. But going back to specs, yeah, I mean, the man shows up and puts in work. It's amazing. Yeah. I'm thankful that he didn't have practice for that
the 86
and he didn't get to qualify.
Yeah.
But it was a blast fighting with him, and that's the thing. Like, I think Winter mentioned it on the stream. Like, you know, when you get the faster guys in the back or in the middle of the pack, all of a sudden things can get a bit more interesting. And it definitely did. But, you know, Specs then spun out, and he was his own worst enemy. As Delp's taking a very late break there, right up the rear end of Specs, is looking healthy.
Yeah, he's not giving this position up easy, that's for sure.
No. Now, and I think this is where, you know,
yeah, that's tough. That's tough. You know, when you lose the tires like that, though, that's, you know, part of it. And that's that'll give him some breather.
Yes, it will. Specs can relax a little bit. Delp's not quite in that 0.7 second range. And the Porsche not always having the strongest legs on the straights. Again, it's a car that's like a 7 to 9 out of 10 on every aspect of it. So you'll find it's got weaknesses everywhere, but it's also got strengths where other cars have weaknesses.
It's like a jack of all trades, a master of none.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I find it such an enjoyable car to drive.
Yeah. Well, we're looking here at Chino, not a veteran with a half-second penalty. Well, I think it was catching Demon for a bit there, but Demon's going to be able to breathe a bit easy now, seeing that penalty flag in his rearview mirror. And you know, they're on the second last lap here, and he knows that as long as Demon doesn't make a massive mistake, P7 is his, baby. And honestly, with the rest of the grid, I mean, showing up front, like, again, maybe the top 5, it's so close between these guys that you can't be upset about this finish. I mean, you can be if you want to be, but it's just, you know, you just have different buckets of drivers, I suppose, and that's okay. Everyone has their own place, right? You're doing work to improve yourself, and it shows clearly, right? But it's wild to see how close it is amongst different buckets, I guess is the right way to put it.
Yeah, I have to agree. And something to note up front, the gap from Winters to Moose is now less than 4 seconds, less than 3.5 seconds. I mean, just another couple of laps, and I think Moose might overtake Winter. Unfortunately for him, we don't have a couple more laps.
No, not at all. How are Winter's tires looking, just out of curiosity?
Oh, they're dead. They're dead. He's got no fuel left. I mean, he might have timed this perfectly. Yeah. Honestly.
Yeah. These guys are fighting through some traffic now as well, though. You know, obviously the back markers have to be aware that they're not fighting these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think that's the case. I hope Winter doesn't run out of fuel. It's flashing red. I don't see much left. He's going to take this momentum, take it around the last bend here, onto the main straight, across the start-finish line shortly, and will this be a P1 finish for the first race, Manu Series race? It is for Winter, crosses at the line. It's followed by Mooseman in P2, and Tony Cal now about to cross the line, taking home P3, and Tony Cal definitely earned that P3 finish.
Absolutely. I mean, great job by Winters. Calculated that to the last minute. Moose had an absolutely solid drive as well. I mean, I don't think Moose really put a toe out of line there. Maybe it was just
tune back to not a veteran and Demon, P7 and 8. We've still got a fight on our hands.
Excellent. You'll have to see it.
As he gets past Demon.
He gets past Demon. Oh my! Even with that penalty, dude.
Yeah, even with that penalty, their tires are in very similar situations. But Shino's on the softs. Demon is on the mediums. Shino's got less fuel, but he's gonna make it to the end. I could see there's actually a sliver of it.
Here we go.
Shino, let's hope he doesn't make a mistake here. They're both in the AMG. It's not looking hopeful for Demon. That's gonna be so unfortunate.
What's going on with Delps?
Oh, Delps. What is going on with Delps? Oh, he's got damage.
Oh,
and he's on Racing Hearts. Delps tunneling down to P7 now. Does Demon see a chance, a hope? I don't think so. I think it's a little too far back.
I think Demon's a bit far back, but Shino, clean up, not a veteran, clean up P6, Delps P7, Demon P8. Honestly, a good finish for Demon even still. Delps, oh no, man. Delps, brutal.
Wow.
honestly,
What an end!
I mean, even Specs to come home and take P5.
That's massive from where he started. I mean, that hurts for Delps. Shino making up 2 spots in the last sector, basically.
Man, absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, that was pretty wild. Yeah, Marino double clicked. We had a feeling that sucks.
Yep. Yeah. Let's see here. Winter saying, damn, did 4 laps on full red tires. Yep. Respawn on the track. I wasn't even completely off. Yeah, well, and we turn those things off too. It's like the game just has like certain limits too, where it's just like you've gone too far regardless of what you said. Like, don't reset the car.
So maybe that's why he seemed so slow out of nowhere.
That's exactly what happened, I think. Yeah.
Did
you? Was it the hairpin breaking point that you messed up? Yeah, I agree, Marino. Demon saying his tires gave out on the last lap. But listen, kudos to Winter taking home P1. That was a fantastic race. I think a really good strat that worked out extremely well. I mean,
incredibly well.
Down to the last, lap, just tires were last 4 laps tires were dead and no fuel. Moose had a fantastic race as well. Tony Cal taking home 3rd place even after a tumble down the grid, and takes home fastest lap. So overall, a solid day for Tony. Arctic having a similar mistake, tumbling down the grid, managed to make it back up to P4. Great job by him. Specs, the French Revolution, I think maybe the only team to finish side by side in 4th and 5th. So great points by those guys for the team as well. And then I'm sure they'll be thanking everyone back at the factory for that one. Shino having their technically debut menu race with us here, taking home 6th place after Delps unfortunately had an incident and just was not able to get along with the car today. Demon down in 8th place and had horrible tire wear towards the end there that caused him to fall down, but still a top 10 finish, which is solid. Steezy and Marino, they're here. We had another team, MN Racing, finishing together, holding hands across the finish line, basically.
That's right.
And happy to see that. Young Carlton in 11th, Crispy in 12th, DJ in 13th, and our resident Zugman himself in 14th, repping the Viper, the Mopar, the Zug lifestyle.
The Zug.
But, man, we had some great racing with both races today. Happy to see that. And looking forward to more.
Absolutely, yeah, it was a blast. So we are going to be back next week. Let me just pull up the calendar. Next week we're going to be at Interlagos. Wally, are you ready to drive at Interlagos?
I am so ready to drive at Interlagos. It's my favorite track to drive. Always, I love it.
It's a good one. It's a blast. So again, we'll be doing the opener series, followed by opener series, and then a little bit short practice for the menu series, and then the race. So it'll be good. It's the same time, same place, starting at 11 a.m. EST. That is 5 hours before UTC, I believe. And you could go Google wherever that is, wherever you are in the world. Wally, anything else for anyone?
I think that's it. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for an actual full stream today. It was amazing.
We got through it.
No server issues. It was lovely. And
absolutely.
Yes, I think we may be doing this 2 hour earlier stream for the foreseeable future. I think it seems to have worked out. So thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thank you to Winters for the awesome commentary earlier. It was great to have him. And we will see y'all next time.
Cheers, everyone.